How's that to start the video with? Hey everybody, it's Dr. Detroit here. The doctor is in, and welcome back to another episode of One Day Restorations. Now, things look a little bit different because we're actually here inside our other garage. This is actually my Car Mechanic Sim 2021 garage, and as you can see, it's a lot different because we have a bunch more repair tables, we have an engine stand over here, and then we have our main garage area here, which is just absolutely gorgeous. We have some cool Top Gear and Grand Tour posters on the wall, and also we have a great calendar as well, and so many great things. But you might notice too, we only have 2 lifts. That's because what they did with this game was that they changed it up a little bit, and they put 3 spots outside for cars to wait, and then 2 spots in here to work with. And today, we're going to have a really cool classic here to begin this video off. This here is a Ford Mustang Fastback. Look at this thing. I actually got this at an auction. So this is an auction type car, similar to the one that we got with the Chevy Astro in the last video. But this one is super cool. However, this thing has seen better days, and it also has a very puny motor in there. It may look big, but let me show you the stats on this. So, here's the thing. You will see that the frame and the interior are really good, but the body and the parts are not doing good. But if you notice, it has basically an inline 6 overhead valve, and look at this, it's only making 146 horsepower. Who puts something like that in a car like this? Because let me tell you something. The 1960s produced some great muscle cars, such as the Chevy Camaro. There was also the Ford Mustang, as we have here, and Dodge even had some cool stuff, but they came out a little bit later in the 60s. So for this car, we're going to try something a little bit different. We're going to put a V12 in this thing. I've never done a V12 with any of these cars. And not only are we going to do that, but I think we're going to turn this sucker back into a good racing style car. Now, when I also had a look-see at the suspension and stuff, that's not too bad. I don't think we'll have to do a full restoration of the suspension, I don't think. In fact, some of it is still pretty good, but we may have to take out the leaf springs and everything, and most likely the fuel tank looks good. Everything else here looks pretty good, but I just do not like this engine at all. So we are definitely going to change the engine out. We're going to make this car, shine again, because look at this. We also need to get a windshield wipe, a windshield washer fluid, brake servo, and also we need a new radiator and everything. So this car is going to get a lot of tender love and care. But before we work on it, let's take it to my car wash. Car wash, you ask? Watch this. Here we are at the car wash. This is actually a very cool deal because now what happens is that some cars that appear rusted actually end up over here and can actually be washed. So let's go ahead and wash this thing and see what it looks like. Ooh! Wow! Look at the color. I see that this was replaced at one time, but the rest of this car actually looks pretty good. However, I may not do anything too much with this. So now we kind of have an idea of what this thing looks like, and let's take a look inside the interior. Ooh, it's actually really nice in here. Look at that. Sit in the seat for just a second. Ooh, that looks really good. So, this particular car is actually okay, body part wise and stuff, but we're gonna need to focus mostly on the engine, and maybe what we'll do is that we'll probably see if we can resurrect the wheels. That or we might give it some new ones. Anyway, let's take it back to my lift. Alright, so let's go ahead and put this up on the jack stands. Alright, now first thing, let me take a look at the wheels here. Let's see if we can do something with the wheels really quick before we start anything here. We're going to take one of them off, and then I'm going to come over here and see if we can't fix it. So let's separate the tires. Let's see, where is it? Where is it? Right here. And of course you guys have seen these before, and as you can see the tires are worn on this Mustang, so it's going to need new ones. But let's come over here and see if we can't fix the rim. See if it's even fixable. And it looks like it is. I don't know if we fixed it up right or not, but yeah, that's one of the new things about this thing is that you go to put a piece over here, and they now turn into a mini game. Alright, so with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and take the rest of these wheels off and see if we can rejuvenate the rims. Okay, so the rims have now been fixed, and we're going to need the tires now for this car. And this car's got some interesting factory tire size deal. It wants 175, 80, and 13. So we'll go ahead and get some white walls for this really quick. Let's see, let's go ahead and take this vintage tire. We did say 13, and this said 175, right? And the other thing was 30, I believe? Let me double check that really quick. 175, 80. 175, 80. That's what we're looking for. So 175, 80, 13. Huh. Very small wheels. Although, we'll keep them the same way. There we go. Alright, now before we put the rims and the wheels on, let's see if we can take care of this engine next. So same thing as we did before, we're going to remove the drive shaft. And I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but there is a bolt right there that does not want to turn, so hit it with a little WD-40. There we go. Now we'll get rid of this, now we'll get this gearbox off. There we go. Now the engine can be removed. And now we can actually get rid of this inline 6. But you know what? I think I'm going to keep this inline 6, but I'm going to keep it for another car, because I think we can actually put it in a Volvo. There we go. Alright, so now the engine's out of there. And now let's come over here and we can start building our V12. Alright, so first things first, I gotta select the V12. Oops, don't want to do that. It's this one, create a new engine. So let's select our V12 HE. And as you can see, the baseline is going to be 280 horsepower. But we're going to see if we can get it up to 500. So let's see what we can do. And I believe I already have a couple. I do not. Okay, well, cutting ahead to when I have all the pieces ready to assemble. Okay, now we have all the pieces that we need, I hope. Alright, let's go ahead and start building this engine. First, we need the engine block. Look at that beauty. Isn't that cool? Now we'll turn this upside down so we can get a good look at everything. Wow, look at all those slots. We need an oil filter, which luckily I have. Now I need to put a crankshaft in, which is the one piece that I forgot. So we will get that here in a second. V12HE. In fact, you can see here that the biggest difference between both games is that, you know, this is a little bit better, but I also know that we're going to be switching back and forth between the two games. Now we have to put in a bunch of these pistons, which luckily though I do have a few of these. However, I do have some racing pistons, but I also do have these normal ones. You know what? I'll go ahead and put in the normal ones for this one. That way the engine still has a little bit of stockness to it, and the other stuff that we have is actually going to come on top of it. Okay, so the pistons are now in place. Now we need to put the rod caps on, which hopefully I have enough for these. The rod caps, of course, keep the pistons on the crankshaft. And essentially what we're going to do is that we're putting a Jaguar motor in this car, which is kind of cool. I never realized that a Jaguar engine could fit inside of a Mustang. So this should be a lot of fun. Go. Now we need to get the rest in. Okay, good. Now we put the crankshaft bearing caps on. There we go. And now we can go ahead and place on the oil pan. There we go. Alright, and while we're back here as well, we might as well put the clutch stuff in. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a tuned up clutch, I think. So let's go ahead and grab those pieces really quick. And we also need a flywheel as well. Go ahead and install that really quick. Get the clutch plate on. Also get the clutch pressure plate in place. And then the clutch release bearing, which, you know, one thing I need to do is I need to go shopping and get, you know, all the stuff so that way we're not going back and forth between these things. There we go. Now the engine can be flipped over so we can actually work on the high side here. There we go. Alright, next thing we need is the ignition distributor, which luckily I have put that in there now. Then we need the ignition a distribution rotor and cap. Now you will notice that there are actually a dozen holes right here. That's because those are actually going to be going to each and every one of the pistons, because they'll be plugged into the spark plugs. Which, now that I say that, I don't know if I even have enough spark plugs for this. And of course it needs a clip. So let me get some clips here to keep this on hand. I'm going to go ahead and get a mess of these just in case. So now we get that on there. Okay, next up is that we need the engine heads. And thankfully I got some beautiful heads here. Look at all of this. Look at all these screws we got to put in. There we go. And now, the next thing we're going to need is the other engine head, which thankfully I have that right here. There we go. Now we need the camshaft cap, which... Did I not buy camshaft caps? Oh boy. Alright, so let me see here. We need to grab the camshaft caps really quick. Camshaft cap. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Where... Okay, good. Right here. I didn't even see these earlier, so these are kind of new to me. God, look at how many screws there are. But, you know what? They don't want anything moving on the engine, so I can definitely appreciate the fact that there's screws all over the place, which is, you know, pretty good. So now we're going to do the same thing over here to this side. Now we'll put the camshafts in. Now this is where I'm going to need some camshaft caps, which luckily I bought a bunch of those, but we'll put those in a matter of seconds. Because now I got to put the cam gear in. Let's go over here and grab the other camshaft, get the cam gear in, and then there's where all of our spark plugs are going to go. We should probably put the spark plugs in next. And unfortunately, I don't have... Ooh. Alright, let me get some new ones really quick. Okay, now I got those. Let's go ahead and plug the spark plugs in right now, just so that we don't forget about them. These spark plugs are also very important too, because these also help regulate when each piston makes the explosion. Get them all nice and tight in there. There we go. Now we can put the ignition wiring in. And now we're going to go ahead and get all the camshaft caps bolted in next. Okay, there we go. So now we have all those taken care of, and man, those took a long time. Next, we're going to feed the timing chain in. Now, the timing chain is a very, very, very important part of every engine. It's actually called a timing belt, but for some reason this is a timing chain. This timing chain is actually what keeps the engine and everything chugging at the right time, at the right speed, and everything like that. Without it, the engine won't even know what the hell to do with itself, and it will blow up. So we don't want that. Timing cover going on now. There we go. Now we're also going to need a bunch of this other stuff too, but the good news is that some of this stuff I do have, because it was left over from a previous build. Except for the alternator. I don't have an inline 6B alternator. This game loves to throw weird stuff at you. But thankfully I have that now. And I have a few extras just in case I end up going through there. And thankfully I got the serpentine belts, which these are also important as well. The water pump. Believe it or not, this water pump I actually was able to siphon off of another car. So this is actually a rebuilt water pump that we're putting on this engine. Not anything new. Get the water pump pulley in. Now put the belts on, the rest of the serpentine belt, and now we need a radiator fan. So we're gonna get that in just a few minutes. But first, let's go ahead and wrap this one up. Now we need to get the exhaust manifolds in, which means I'm gonna have to get a few more of these. In fact, it looks like I'm gonna have to get 2 more of these. put on the other side. And looks like we missed a camshaft cap, of course. There we go. Now we'll come over here, and yeah, I'm gonna need the exhaust manifold. So V12 HE, and let's see, gonna need one more of these. And no, that's an intake manifold. I need another exhaust. I don't think we're gonna need anything more than that, but you never know. Because remember, this is my first time building a V12. There we go. And now we go up here, and we're going to put the engine head cover on. So many screws. There we go. Now there's where the other the intake will be. And did I forget a camshaft cap over here? Damn it. I always forget some of those. And now, finally, these intake manifolds can come in. There we go. And the throttle, we need a V6B throttle. Okay. See if there's a high performance throttle in here that we can use. Yes, there is. Tell you what, this thing's gonna make some super good power, but I'm a little concerned that it might make a little too much power. Then we need the air filter base. Okay. Let's see. If we do it like this, V12HE, there's the base. Boy, I wonder if it's going to have us do the same thing on this side. I guess we're about to find out. Okay, good. It doesn't... Wait. Oh, we're going to need dual throttle now. Okay. So that means another one of these. And more than likely, I'm going to have to get another air filter. And let's get the other throttle, which is a V6B. Oh. Oh, wrong. There we go. I just had the, I just had the incorrect thingy up there. There we go. Now we need the fuel rail installed. Beautiful. And now I need a radiator fan. So let's go ahead and grab that really quick. There are no high performance fans, so we'll just get the one that's this, which is actually for a V8 overhead. Beautiful. And then last but not least, we put the air filter base and the air filter itself in there. And then we need the cover. Great. You know, I had a feeling I would probably need these two, but I didn't think that I would need them. There we go. And now we're going to need a bunch of these clips. Remember what I said earlier? There we go. Now, are there others? Yeah, there's some hidden ones down here. Great. Thank goodness it always pays to look underneath to make sure that you're not, you know, missing anything. Now we'll get the other air filter base in. There we go. Now we'll get the clips on. And over here. Good. And it looks like we now have our beautiful new V12 engine. Oh my god, this is beautiful, isn't it? Alright, now to take it off of the... Now to basically take this and let me see. How do we get the... I'm trying to remember how we got this. Here it is. Alright, so now I'm carrying the motor and we are going to put this back in the car. But before we do, I'm going to lift this a little bit. I'll go ahead and put the We go ahead and do this. Oh, we can't put it there. Alright, whatever. So now the next thing that we're going to do is that we're going to take a look at the suspension pieces and stuff. As you can see, the crossmember here is still fairly good, but I think what we're going to need to do is that we're going to need to run some tests with this to see if we need to replace the whole suspension. Because the crossmember doesn't really need anything, however the other springs and stuff do. So why don't we go ahead and lower this thing back. And I'm going to go ahead and install our new motor into the vehicle. Ooh, look at that. That looks really cool. But now, I need to lift this car back up, and let me go back over here and see if I can actually fix the, gearbox. Because actually, this thing's going to need a new gearbox. So, let me see what type of gearbox this thing needs to be able to use a V12. It's gonna need its own gearbox, so let's take care of that really quick. So gearbox, well, we could do a custom gearbox. We'll go ahead and have one on hand just in case. There we go. So now we'll go ahead and install this. Beautiful. And then the starter is back here. We need a new starter. Now that starter probably could have worked, but I just don't like putting used starters in any of our cars. So let me just do this. Okay. Let's see. Did they put it over here in the electronics? I'm sure that they did. Let's see. Yep, there it is. Okay. Go ahead and grab a couple of these just because. There we go. And now we can reinstall the drive shaft, which luckily I have some new ones hanging about. There. And then next up we need a front exhaust section. Wonder if they have a racing version of it. Let me see. Or performance. So it's got to be a V6. So what is it? A V6? Oh, okay, so no, it's not a V6. It's an i6. And we need a normal section, which would be this. So this will give us some good power. Middle muffler needs to go away. I don't know if I have an extra one. We're about to find out. No, I do not. However, let's see, do I have a rear muffler? I do. However, let's see if I can fix up the middle muffler that I have. The middle muffler is one I took out of a car before I even started filming any of these. Let's see if we can fix the middle muffler. Let's see, it's not looking likely, so that means we are going to have to get a new middle muffler. Great. Well, might as well go ahead and get one. Okay, back underneath here we go. Go ahead and put the new one in, and now we're going to put this one in. Okay, good. Alright, so now we are almost ready to give this car a little dyno test to see what everything's all about. But before we do, there's a few things we got to do to make sure that this is, race ready. And that is to put in some new tires. So as you can see, I was able to fix the rims of the originals and also have some brand new tires as well. Those are not them. And why are they the incorrect thing? The hell? Hold on a second. Did I actually grab the incorrect tires? Let me see. 13, 175. I must have. Whoops. There we go. Now we should have the real tires. That's more like it. I'm not sure what I would do with those other ones, but let's go ahead and install them. See, same principle as it is in Car Mechanic Sim 2018, but now watch what happens when I go to put them over here. See how it's a minigame? You have to actually put the balancers on. Which now, we have one tire that we're going to put on there. I'm going to get the rest of the tires taken care of now. Okay, so our Mustang now has the new tires on, we have the new engine in place, and what we're going to do now is that we're going to go back in here, and we need to put some oil in this before we fire anything up, or at least attempt to fire anything up. There we go. Pour it in. And then next we're going to use the brake servo here, which by the way, while you guys were not looking, I put in a new brake servo, put the radiator in, and some other stuff too. And let's see, that's good enough. That's good enough right there. And then for some reason, this car will not move until we put in windshield wiper fluid. That's one of the new things that they have in this game. Okay, that's good enough right there. We don't need too much. And then I think we also need to put in some coolant as well up here. Very important to have coolant in your car. Whoa, there we go. Okay, good. Okay, so we have everything in this car, it looks like. Basically, we have everything. We don't have to worry about fuse boxes or anything. So now, this car is essentially road ready. However, the suspension is a little bit iffy. But let's see if we can't. Let's see if we can actually fire it up. Let's take it to our dyno, so we can see what the power is. See what the power is like. Alright, so this is the moment of truth, everybody. Will this car fire up? The hell? Oh, did I? No, we put a starter in it. That's strange. Wonder why this thing will not fire up. Let me see. Okay, it does have a starter, but it's not doing anything. And I did put the new battery in it, but I'm not 100% sure what is missing from this engine. Oh! I just realized. It needs this. It needs a fuel pump. Now it should be able to fire up. Let's see if that's the case. Okay, let's try it again. Still nothing. Okay. Alright, let's see. So we have the fuel pump in place. Everything else here should be fine. So what am I missing? I don't see anything that's missing from this engine. Alright, you know what? I know this series is called One Day Restorations, but I think I'm going to turn this into a two-part episode because I'm not quite sure why the engine's not firing. Let's do a... You know what? Let's do this. Let's do a little examination. The engine is fine. Drive shaft is fine. Okay. Let's move the car back into the garage area really quick. And we're going to do a little examination here. In fact, I'm going to use some additional tools here. Let's see. How about the electrometer? See if that's working. So this thing does have a relay on it. Okay, so that's where the trouble is. Oh, because it's all the way over here. Oh my lord in heaven. Alright, so I don't think... Well, we are going to still turn this into a two-parter, but I'm not going to leave this until we fire the engine up. This here is called a fuse box. And probably all the different relays that we have here are completely screwed, so I'm going to take them out. I'll explain more about relays on another car. Okay, we're back in the dyno now. Third time's the charm, right? Ready? Oh ho 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 ho! That is the sound of power right there. Alright, let's go ahead and run this in the dyno and see how much horsepower we have. So, now this is where it's going to get a little loud. Initially, we started out with 281 horsepower. This is the base power for a factory V12 engine. But now let's see, with all the adjustments we did and all the parts and pieces, let's see what happened. Cover your ears, folks, because it's going to get loud. Hey! That's about where I was thinking the engine was going to be. I wanted as close as we could to 500 horsepower, and we got 491 horses out of it. That's pretty good. Good job, little guy. Okay, so now we know that this car can make some great power and things like that. However, we're going to need to work on the suspension a little bit with this car. But you know what? I think I'm going to do that in the next episode. So let's go ahead and move this car back over to the car lifter. So for right now, this car is going to sit here for a little bit. And then in the next episode, we'll focus all of our attention on the suspension, and then we'll get it out on the road. And then I got a little treat behind this gate. Because you know how we had that, other Chevy Lumina car in our other garage? Well, I happened to go to the junkyard at one point and found this. And if you don't know this number, this will give you a clue as to what kind of car we're going to make this into. Anyway, that's going to do it for this episode. If you guys enjoyed One Day Restorations, make sure you leave a like and a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time here on One Day Restorations, where we will finish up the Mustang and then take on an old Chevy Lumina.